Hey everybody, it's Scott. I just wanted to take a minute here to give you some general comments I have for your first speech. And first off, I was very impressed. I saw a lot of good things, and I hope the experience was an enjoyable one. But I did notice some sort of general themes that I wanted to address, and it is not uncommon to see this in a lot of the different classes. So I just want to bring these to your attention for not only just a reflection on the first speech, but also hopefully to help you for future speeches. First off, you'll notice when I graded the assignment there was a rubric, and the rubric is a general outline or a guide in terms of what I saw and how I felt about the different items, and of course the general comments or additional comments at the end. So don't take it too literally in terms of how it corresponds to your grade, but it certainly is a good point of reference. So if you have any questions, you can look at that and get back to me. Also, I want to be hopefully very clear about the way the speeches are structured. You have an outline. In other words, I call it a roadmap, and you want to try to stick to that roadmap as closely as you can. So, for example, in the second and third speeches, you want to open with a hook, provide a self-introduction, the preview of the main points, that sort of thing, and be very clear about it. Really, a good way to look at it is at any particular point, any given point in a speech, the audience should be able to know exactly where you are. And that's done through transition statements. It's done through clearly identifying the main points. It's done through a recap of the main points by saying in conclusion when you're about to sum up, offering a final comment. So being very transparent in the way you give your speech. It's going to be very helpful in terms of your overall speech organization, and also, of course, in the way you get your grades back, because again, the more clear, the better quality is. Also, another thing that is very common, and I try to keep re-emphasizing this, is the sense of having a theme. Now, a theme, you want to think of like the way a politician gives a speech, the way a public figure will give a speech, the way a paper is written. There's sort of like a theme, or in a paper you would think of a thesis statement, something like that. So you want to have an overarching theme that connects the main points. For example, the two events that may have shaped your life is not the theme. The theme could be the two events helped you become more confident. They helped you to be more responsible, to appreciate life more. So some element or quality that ties those things together, and you want to apply that to the future speeches as well. The pacing, sometimes people, in terms of the way they deliver the material, you want to make sure you're not reading off your notes. You want to sound, the ideal scenario is you want to sound very polished, very conversational, and also be very rehearsed, but not sound rehearsed. You don't want to sound like you're simply restating something you've said 30 times before. You want it to sound like it's the first time you thought of it and saying it in the moment. Now, I know it's a fine line, but that's why I think extemporaneous speaking is the way that will really allow us to do that. And again, to do that, you want to have your keywords as an outline, little basic short notes, not sentences, not paragraphs. It's okay to have 100 cards with 1 or 2 words on each, whatever works for you, just so long as it allows you to speak in a kind of conversational, natural tone that you would want to speak in, and avoid sounding over-rehearsed, over-prepared, because again, that doesn't sound as natural and as strong. With regards to the shooting of the video, a couple of you, I see sort of the landscape or the portrait style of video where it's more vertical, more up and down than sideways. You want, if you're doing it with a like a camcorder, or not a camcorder, but a what do you call these things? Cell phones or smartphones. I think what's happening is you're holding it up vertically, and you want to turn it, and you want to shoot this way. So again, there's more width. Because one of the things that you got to keep in mind is you have to frame the shot so that I can see everything. So movement, I want to be able to see your eye contact to see if you're looking around the room or not. So it needs to be close enough so I can see that. You don't want it too far away so I can't see it, and you also don't want it too close, because again, the goal is for you to be able, for me to be able to see everything, because if I can't see it, I can't assess it. So, for example, if I can only see from your hips up, I can't tell if your posture's good, your stance, things like that. And those are things I grade on the second and third speech. You want to be very clear in terms of how you set up the shot. As a reminder, the lighting needs to be good. You don't want the backlight to be real strong behind you. It sort of washes you out and gives you a silhouette. You want to have some light, of course, behind you, but I really just basically I need to be able to see you clearly. I think that's the simplest way I can put it. Also, sometimes I'll see people provide comments that are not very helpful, like self-defeating comments. For example, I need to work on this speech. This might not be very good. Forgive me if it doesn't sound the way it should. Any other things like that. Really, when you start the speech, you want to just start, and you don't want to start off with really any comment. If you can avoid it, don't say anything. Just go straight into your speech. That's the best way. And the same thing with the end. End it, be clear, be succinct, and then you're done. Also, when you are speaking, you want to make sure, and this is very common with the second speech, with the informative, is people try to cover too much information. The goal is to give us enough so we can really digest what you're saying. If you're just going to rattle off, statistic after statistic and just try to cover all this information and it's overwhelming, it's going to lose the audience. You want to be very succinct. Again, think quality over quantity. And that's it. So hopefully these comments are helpful for you. And of course, if you have any other questions, feel free to come back and contact me, and I'll be happy to go over it with you. Reminder, this week is the webinar. We have to have signups by the end of the day on Monday, and so that way we can finalize the schedule. And also for the following 2 weeks, we'll have speech 2, which is the exact same topic as the webinar, just in a different delivery format. And then the final speech, which is the persuasive speech. So that's it. Thanks very much, and have a great day.